Regular select board meeting. Present in the room are selectmen Paul Madalinsky, Stan Noga, myself, Dot Maggio. On Zoom is Samara Zwick. Also present are our clerk, Vanessa Ballou, and highway supervisor, what's your name? Mark Bills. Okay. All right. So the meeting is called to order. Any changes to the agenda? I'd like to add 4B.
Marjorie's here.
And Marjorie Ray just came on. Hi, Marjorie. She's a member of the public. We'll talk in a minute. Under review approved draft minutes, I'd like to add 4B, the special July 11, 2023 minutes. Okay. I'd also like to. Yes.
Dot, I found one, Paul and I were reading the agenda. You have the Fact TV recording in 2 places.
Saw that, yeah, because the agenda.
Yeah, so you can just, I guess you can delete whichever one you want.
Right.
Yeah.
And well, we can leave it in the communications. I'll leave it
Okay.
in communications. So we'll drop 7A. We'll drop 7A. Yeah.
Perfect.
And, I'd like to move 7D, the web page redesign proposal, up after we do review draft minutes. So we'll do Marjorie in about 5-10 minutes. Any other changes to the agenda at this time? No. All right. Okay, so right now we're going to do the review and approve the draft minutes from the regular meeting from July 5th. Does anybody have any changes for page 1 of 4 for July 5th?
Yes.
Vanessa does.
I couldn't find who seconded the motion to approve the minutes as amended, and I went back to the tape, right, the recording, and it didn't look like it was seconded.
You're saying for what number here?
4A.
4A, you're saying the regular select board minutes from June 21st, 2023. Okay, a motion to approve the minutes. Who seconded it? Does anybody remember who seconded the minutes on June 21st?
No. Hey guys, let's you might want to.
Should I just delete that part of it?
Okay.
Oh,
Or you could re-review them. I mean.
Oh,
All right, you know what? Maybe I wrote on my notes. Trying to find out who seconded the minutes on July 21st. That's what you're.
July 5th.
Oh, July 5th.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, yes, on July 5th.
The regular minutes from June. Yeah, well, I didn't write down the names. I just checked that it was done.
Okay.
okay, what do we have?
And
We're trying to recall who seconded the minutes for the minutes as amended at the last meeting for June 21st. You couldn't find it. All right, we'll table this at this time. I don't know what to tell you, and I guess put it on the next
I
agenda.
abstained, so it had to be one of you three.
I motioned.
Samara wasn't
abstained.
here.
Samara wasn't here, so it's either Stan or Bruce.
I can't remember that far back.
And you look at the tape, when
Maybe I didn't call for a second.
What date was it?
The last meeting,
The 5th of
The last
July.
regular meeting.
last regular meeting, you're looking at 4A on page 1 of today's draft minutes. Regular select board minutes from June 21st. The select board discussed changes.
If you looked at the
Dot
tape,
motion,
and you
who
don't see
seconded?
it, it just didn't happen.
Right, and I even looked in slow motion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So,
Unless somebody was really, really quiet.
if that's the
Could've
case,
been me.
if that's the case, maybe we need to just, do
Yes.
that again tonight.
Oh, I would just wait until you get the records. The records are there. Personally, my memory is that Stan seconded. And then we all voted.
I remember that too.
I mean, that's what I recall. So we don't need to go through it all again.
I mean, I honestly, it would certainly make things easy, wouldn't it?
Yeah. and
I probably did.
We should move on.
I probably did.
Okay.
So what are we doing here? We're moving on.
I think they're saying stand.
Okay, all right.
As amended. Okay, so that were, all right, any other changes on page 1 of 4? Any changes on page 2 of 4?
Again, I have a blank, but I got it. For 6E, it was Bruce who seconded.
Yes,
Okay. That's it.
this is the contract.
Um,
Any other changes on page 2 of 4?
we not put, is it not necessary to put the bid announce on this?
I'm sorry, say again?
Is it not necessary to put I really hate this chair, it's too loud.
But there's a way to fix it, but
The bid amounts on, or RFP amounts, the dollar amounts on the minutes. Should we be-
are they in the minutes? You're saying they are or are not?
See it, we're looking at
6A.
we're looking at about 6A, correct?
Yeah, I didn't put the amounts in. I'm happy to go back and.
Yes, we probably should.
I would concur.
So.
Yeah, I could actually send you the summary because I sent it out to the summary of who did what,
Look at this too.
unless you wanted to look it up. I have a summary, I'll send you the summary.
Okay.
Mhm.
Not very, I don't understand it.
Okay. Any other changes on moving to page 3 or 4, I have a question. Under the top of the page B, daycare concerns. The town insurance, it says, the town insurance will cover the disposal costs and the $1,500 in plumbing costs. We will see if the town's insurance will cover the plumbing costs. I didn't say anything about the disposal costs. We will see if the town's insurance will cover the $1,500 in plumbing costs. And see, here's the thing.
Inquire.
I believe that roughly the cost of repairs, including plumbing and labor, is about $2,000. So we are researching whether the town's insurance will cover the roughly $2,000 in labor and material spent in the cleanup required by the broken pipe. That would be the best way to say it. We are seeking the town's insurance to try to recover the roughly $2,000 in labors and material spent in the cleanup required by the broken pipe. Okay. Down on page 3.
We are seeking, this is how I got in trouble last time. We are seeking or researching, we are determining.
If the town insurance will cover the roughly $2,000 in labor and materials spent on repairing the broken pipe.
And I'm saying, broken pipe.
Okay,
Oh, there you
Thank
are.
you.
Really?
and then under
At the table there.
8 reports, Basin Brothers. It should be, there is a $2,000 mobilization fee.
Okay, which one is that? It's-
Under reports and updates, 8B, Bays and Brothers,
Oh,
there's a $2,000 mobilization fee. Anything else on page 3? Anything on page 4? All right, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from Wednesday, July 5th, 2023 for a regular select board meeting as amended. May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Paul. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor as amended, approving these minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
thanks.
Any
Samara.
abstain? Hearing none. Okay, motion passed.
Except for Samara. who-
Samara, did you abstain?
she's
I
not-
think she was
He
a bad.
disappeared.
She's abstained. Gone. All right, we'll just quickly take a look at the minutes. I'd like to go over the minutes for the special meeting on July 11th. Any changes to page 1 of 3? So none. Any changes on page 2 of 3? Down at K,
Again,
down at K. I'm
We're not-
serious. Down at K, where it says 202/23, you meant to just drop the extra 0.
Right.
It's 22,
Oh,
23.
right.
And what else?
and D, again, we don't really, nothing's really said about what our payment is gonna be for the wheeled excavator. I thought it might be a good idea to put that in there, or we could put it in the next meeting just so that we are transparent and tell the community that read the minutes, so I know what we're making for a payment.
We actually didn't talk about the payments,
No, we really
but,
didn't, did we?
no. So I don't know,
Later on,
If we
tonight,
should.
read them into the minutes.
yeah,
We can, if we have
I
those
just think
numbers,
we're.
or
all
I
these
can,
things about-
I have them.
I can take, or you can take, we can copy page 1 of the note, or we can take the schedule that I did, the numbers are exactly alike, and just add it to the minutes as a additional notation or whatever.
I think it's a good idea, just in case we get into anybody's curious. Just say,
So I'll
What's
just
the
make,
pleasure of the board?
I was gonna say, I'll take the information from your handout.
Okay,
your-
yeah,
Your
yeah.
materials and incorporate it. So do you want to see,
We make a motion to do that in tonight's meeting. That sounds good. And the handout, I think, had the comparison, so maybe just the upper part where the actual payment schedule is delineated,
Okay, so
rather than show the comparison, which is unnecessary at this point.
we're not gonna just read them into the minutes.
whatever, yeah. you can-
So there's a
do you wanna do
methodology
that?
for doing that.
Okay, so you're going to amend the minutes by putting amendment A, attaching an amendment, which is the top of these.
Are you talking about amending the minutes of the 11th?
Right, by
Oh.
putting it, by attaching. Unless we want to read them.
I was just saying, I was just thinking, again, we hadn't mentioned any payment amount. We already, everyone had seen what it was. We
No, we
didn't talk
did
about
mention.
them. We didn't actually give numbers, I don't believe.
no, we didn't.
Right,
So
We could even do it
amending
next time.
it would imply that we missed them and we didn't.
okay.
So what I'm
Good point.
thinking of as an overview to tonight's
Just to take
meeting,
this
we
sheet.
change the agenda to as a makeup for everyone forgetting or not including the numbers in the last meeting. We'd like to have as an addition or to tonight's meetings that the payment schedule be added as an additional document, so anybody can pick it off the internet.
Okay, so how do you want her, put it in your own words?
Or not in tonight's meeting tomorrow, we can forget about the 11th. When we come to tonight's meeting, we can just bring it up and decide how to do it.
Okay.
then. How's that sound?
Okay,
We'll just keep things flowing.
all right, we'll keep things going. All right, any other changes on
Just
minutes?
I'm not gonna get.
Oh,
Why?
yes, on page 3 of those minutes. I'm wondering if the paragraph following the N introduction, N as in Nelly, that's earlier in the meeting, DM stated E-Mark Builds was helping Athens.
Athens was
It was fixing Athens Road, that's what I thought, so
fixing Athens
was
Road,
fixing Athens Road.
not helping the town of
Fixing.
Athens.
Yeah.
It's Fixing,
Athens Road.
Athens Road, so it's Athens.
Yeah, with flood repairs. And that's Sanborn, Montana,
The
Wire,
rest of it's fine.
requested to provide backup as needed. Okay.
Good.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from the special select board meeting from Tuesday, July 11, 2023, as amended. May I have a second?
Second,
Seconded by Stan. Any further discussion? You'll add the payment schedule shortly.
I'd also like to compliment Vanessa because there's a lot of work that she's put into this. It's, you know, having done it, I know what it feels like, and I want to thank her for doing that.
Well, your jobs are never ending too. Thank you for finding for providing the.
You're welcome. The recordings, yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Aye.
Abstain. You abstained, Samara, you weren't here, right?
I wasn't there. Well, I was at the special meeting. I wasn't at the July 5th meeting.
Is that an aye from Samara as well?
Yes.
Okay.
You don't have a copy of the agenda?
I don't.
I have it.
I can
Can make
make a
one.
copy.
Yeah.
Okay, as soon as we make a copy, let's then go and talk to Marjorie Ray, and she was kind enough to show up again tonight. Hopefully everybody had a chance to look over her proposal for the website redesign. And if there were some questions, she offered to come back tonight to answer them. 1 second. Yeah.
So I guess my questions are, I know you're going to work primarily with Guy, but let's assume, at some point Guy is getting to an age where he might retire. Are we going to be able to have input into the content? I mean, I have some ideas, so I'd like to work with you I'd like to give you my ideas as well.
One thing I
frankly,
would suggest is you get one person on your board to communicate with me. That's the person that you guys all decide, here's what we want for the website. That person comes to me. If each person comes to me separately and has ideas,
oh no,
it gets
that's,
to be
yeah, I
overwhelming.
agree.
Yeah, I just want to say it's good to have like one person that's kind of interested in helping with the project. The way I envision it is I will sit with Guy and see how he kind of does things and try to keep his workflow somewhat the same. So it's not like overwhelming that he has to learn so much new stuff. But
That makes
also,
sense.
as what I've told Dot as well, that you guys can have logins and I will do a Zoom with him. I'll do one-on-one in person, I think, but I can do a Zoom training so that you guys can have logins and go in if you want to be able to add your own agendas or whatever. You guys will decide how it works. I don't know the protocol for who adds the agendas, things like that, but certainly it'll be better to have more people be able to log in. It's not good right now the way only one person can log into your site. It's really not recommended. So
Well, I guess our minds are going along the same path, so that's good. And I totally understand that you shouldn't have like 5 different people contacting you.
right.
Time.
So just wanted to make sure that was understood.
I
Sounds
also
like
wanted to say, I
response.
looked at your, sample sites and they look very, very good to me.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So,
And I think once we figure out, the emails and how that will get done, I think that will actually be going forward will be a big asset for the town and the community.
yeah, because I
different
did notice
committee-
that sorry, Dot, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
I did notice that you said you would leave the MailChimp, but honestly, I don't know if Julie uses that.
No, I didn't say we would leave MailChimp. I said we should keep MailChimp.
Right, right. That's
way
what I
she's
meant. You
doing
said
it.
we should keep MailChimp, but I was going to suggest that someone, well, maybe you, maybe Guy, maybe one of us should find out if it's even used right now.
Yeah, she uses it all the time. All the emails that come from her are through MailChimp. I'm pretty sure. Hey, MailChimp at the bottom.
It does. It says MailChimp. I just wondered if it was active. It probably is. I just didn't
Yeah,
know.
I think it is. She's
Okay.
actually reached out to me in the past to help with that a teeny bit. So
Oh, good.
I
Okay.
think she
cool.
still uses it. I use MailChimp. I do the newsletter for Green Spring at Mount Snow. So I'm in there all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Any other questions about the program and before we look at adopting it, there is a proposal cost of $2,500 with a $600 discount. The website redesign is for $1,900. It's within our purchase policy where we don't have to go out for bid, requesting 50% due upon signing and 50% due upon completion of the work. There are a 6-week time frame that between development and the launching of the website. So it looks like we'll have something this summer.
Did I ask where the money was
You're
going?
gonna have to speak up.
Did I ask where that money was going to come from? I might have.
Comes from municipal office bills, supplies, hoses, computers. We can take it from your favorite
Well, there's-
source.
It's running
There's
out,
two. There's a computer. There's computer support. It can go partially under that too.
Yeah, sure. But there is.
I think the computer support is the payment for the entity that lives in Brookline who repairs our computers on an as-needed basis.
Well, there would be 2 wired guys, but
Yeah, exactly.
but I mean, to the extent that budget isn't used up, we can use it.
And the other thing was that apparently there's just to be complete in considering everything. There was a thought of acquiring new computers because what we've heard over the last 9 months from people is that ours are old, they're slow, and
Oh, yeah.
the reliability of them is a little bit of a concern at this point. So yeah, I don't know how to fit that into the 2 categories of computer and then maintenance.
Well, the
I'm wondering,
computers.
since we've never used the money for the attorney, I think we allot $3,000 a year. If we just simply utilize that this year, knowing that we won't have that $3,000 cushion that we've been utilizing much of the last decade.
I don't think so. I don't think you can just swap categories.
Well, I mean, I'm just looking to help your general statement, which led me to believe we're going to find it somewhere in the municipal side of things, which is where I'm coming from when I say that. So if that's not the case, and we're going to be account specific, then we need to decide on what accounts.
Well,
Okay.
so as an accountant, how it would work is if this equipment is used, if we use up the line items like, say, supplies and equipment, and then we don't use the attorney, you're just over budget in one line and $3,000 under budget in the other. So look at the bottom line all the time.
Okay.
If the bottom line is not a deficit, then you're okay,
Right.
generally speaking.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking along that line, but that's a good point.
Right. It just affects the surplus.
Thank you.
At the end.
Sure.
All right, so are we comfortable with going forward? Do I hear any
I said we
motion?
don't have any choice. Yeah. I'm for
I'll
going
make a
forward.
motion that we accept Marjorie Ray's proposal and, get a contract in place, however the procedures are for that. And
Okay, we have a
yeah,
motion
I'll second it.
seconded by Paul. Any discussion? There is a small mutual agreement here. So what do we have to do for, this is Marjorie's suggested agreement.
Oh, haven't really studied it.
we'll have to-
Proposal. Do we have to set up another contract for the town?
my recollection is you can use with a vendor contract, but honestly, I didn't study it either. So we should take a look at it and then implemented relatively quickly for us.
All right. so
I hate to do this, but I'd like to suggest that maybe not table the actual signing of the contract in that between now and the next regular select board meeting, either volunteers or assign somebody to review that contract. And
What
it
if-
sounds like by virtue of our contracts that we have already, Samara, that we probably want to keep a uniformity to them. And
Well-
maybe
Well, this is a
incorporate.
little different than, it should be a fairly simple contract, understanding when we have to pay. And then, the work plan will come about when people meet with Marjorie. And I mean, the whole point of the VLCT contract is, generally speaking, not for these types of services, like, sorry, I'm really tired. Let me, rather than table it, I would we could all take a look at it, and I hate to do a special meeting, but if we're just doing it to sign a contract, our next meeting won't be until September. And our website is a mess.
I guess 2 weeks in August,
Yeah.
2 weeks ago in August.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry, in August.
Yeah.
Sorry, my mistake. But I
Alright,
think
Marge.
fundamentally, if we agree we're going ahead and then just review the contract, I guess we could sign it at the next meeting. Make sure we're in agreement with how it should be. I guess
right, we
that
have
makes sense. I'm
We have a
sorry.
motion and a second on the floor to go with Marjorie Ray's website redesign proposal for a total cost not to exceed $1,900. Contract to be signed at the next meeting, if that's okay with Marjorie.
Negotiated and or signed.
Negotiated and or signed at the August 2nd meeting.
I will provide a little update to my proposal because it actually expires tomorrow.
Yes.
It's just something I put in, 30 days. It's been 30 days, or tomorrow will be 30 days. So I can just, write up a little thingy. If you want an email or something.
Perfect.
Right, because it came at the June 21st meeting. This contract was dated June 20th, so. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? All right, thank you. Marjorie, if you would send a new contract page with a new date on it. It's my attention, I can send it out to everybody else. But pretty much going to be the same as what you sent before.
I'll just, you want me to redo the contract with a different date, or I think I could just send an email saying the date's been extended.
That sounds fine to me.
Okay, there you go.
All right,
right.
well, thank you, everyone. So I don't need to come back in 2 weeks though, right?
Well, I suspect that you will get some kind of contact,
Yeah.
because we do have VLCT contracts that are just for services, and we have some that are for services and materials and so on. So I don't know what anybody else is gonna do, but I'm simply gonna look at a services VLCT contract and look at yours and look at what our expectation appears to have been thus far with our treasurer's department, and just make sure that the game is well known to everybody.
Right, good.
Whatever
Okay,
that is.
right. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks,
All right.
Marjorie.
It orders account payable warrant. I'd like to make a motion to approve accounts payable warrant 2404 dated July 19, 2023 in the amount of $21,789.48. May I have a second?
I'm good at it. Check.
Seconded by Bruce Mello. Any discussion?
I have one question. And it has nothing to do with approving it. I just remembered, if you look at Archie Clark's expense lines, summer material and contract services. They're both labeled flood work, which makes sense. But did we have different accounts for the FEMA flood work? This is FEMA stuff. Do you care? I mean, they can,
We put in the 2023-24 budget an additional $70,000, which I anticipated for the old flood work, which we hadn't finished yet.
right, and that's what I'm asking about. Should we should make sure that we don't lose track of this, and I'll just talk to the treasurers about how to either segregate it. I mean, they can use a spreadsheet, but I just noticed that, and so this is for the most recent floods. It's going to be a new FEMA stuff, and we probably should set up a new account to account for it.
I agree, that would be ideal.
So that's just administrative. They can move that stuff after we approve. The amounts look fine to me. You know, it's just dawned on me as I looked at it. I went, you know, we're going to have to go digging through a general account to find the specific expenses for new FEMA.
Right.
I appreciate that insight and knowledge. Thank you. It's a good idea, and I'm in
Okay,
favor.
so I'll take that on.
Thank you.
I will
Anything else? Any
make
other
myself a
discussion?
note.
Thank you.
Hearing none, all those in favor of approving accounts payable 2404 in the amount of $21,789.48 signify by saying aye.
Bye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstain? Hearing none, motion passes. I'll fund this around. Okay, I am going to make a motion to approve check warrant report number 2403 dated July 19, 2023 in the amount of $2,587.80. May I have a second? Seconded by Paul. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving check payroll warrant 2403 in the amount of $2,587.80 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstain? Hearing none, the motion passes. I'll pass this around. Okay, moving on, new business, municipal energy resilience program grant, review the $4,000 grant that was approved for the Brookline. Paul, you brought paperwork in to that effect?
Right there. This is it. That's it.
Do you want me to explain what it is again, or are you good with it?
You did. You did.
I mean, in essence, we were approved to go after the money.
Wait, Samara, let's get a motion. And
Sorry.
then we can discuss it, and then we'll vote on it.
Sorry.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the $4,000 grant that was for the municipal energy resilience program. May I have a second? Seconded by Paul. Discussion. Samara, you're on.
Okay, so this is basically, we were approved to go after the money. We got the money. We will, I've already talked to the woman in charge. All I have to do is fax back the signature page and the top, I think it's the first 3 pages, which I can do. And our energy committee, Bruce can elaborate. We actually discussed at our last meeting possible uses for this. This is not the go out and get equipment grant. This is the funds to do education and outreach, potentially have another thing it can be used for is to determine you know, what's needed to be done to have our buildings be ADA compliant. And I think the money will be well spent. We have until 2026, if you look at the paperwork, to spend it. There's an annual report due in July of 2024. It's just a narrative report, which I think our committee can handle that, with your approval, of course. And so it seems to me like we kind of already approved it, but this is approval accepting the money.
We're accepting, now we are gonna approve the accepting of the grant.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Because we
so
can.
it's a very simple, easy to administer grant in a nutshell. And we have until it's all in the grant that I know we have until, I think it's the end of 2026 to use it.
And
So,
how many have to sign it?
pardon?
How many of us
Except
need
one.
to
Just
sign
one
it?
person. It should likely be Bruce, since he's the chair. I gave Paul the documents with the sign here document. It could be you, it could be Bruce, but a select board member should sign it and date
Okay.
it. I was told, I was actually in a Zoom presentation by our regional commission people about, we can actually start spending the money if we want to before we get it. The funds should come via check within 30 days after
also-
they get our documentation. But the start date on our award is July 7th. So we have, and we have discussed, I'll let Bruce and the committee discussed a number of potential uses for it. We are going to now begin to undertake the larger piece, which is no money. It's free building assessments. So probably, did the select board members get a copy of our draft committee minutes?
I did.
Not the recent ones. I got the first.
Okay, well,
meeting
probably
minutes.
I'll forward them to you because John Blue graciously did the minutes.
Not that I'm aware of.
I'll have to check this.
Well,
John
If
sent
if
you-
he didn't email them to you, then I'll just email them to you.
Yeah.
But
I also
it'll,
wanna-
You get-
Okay.
Okay.
but
right, so-
this, at minimum, we will get, if we complete the work done, at minimum, we can get an evaluation of what it takes to make some of our buildings fully ADA compliant. We can get whether or not we want to go after the implementation money. We can get energy assessments of our buildings, either depending on what information is available. There's two types of assessments, and there's no I learned today, there's no advantage in terms of prioritizing getting money by using either a level 1 or a level 2. But I mean, it seems like a really worthwhile project thing, and we should go ahead. Our committee we've got some great people on it. Daniel Schoner and Bruce and me and John, and Marie Tattersall is not officially on the committee, but she's an active participant.
Been both meetings.
So,
All right, I do also want to make sure that the committee's aware that this $4,000 can also be applied towards our website design, because if we're going to use our website to advertise and put information out for the community, I was at a junk.
absolutely. We can, you know, we can use some of that money for website design. Now, I've already
Good.
talked to Melissa about how she's going to record it on our books, which I'll explain, it's not relevant for this decision. So, I mean, the administrative end is pretty easy. And it's just a matter of faxing them our signature page with the document, and they will give us back a signed document, and then they will mail us a check.
Bruce?
I'm not disagreeing with the website design. I'm just saying, with respect to the $4,000, before we start spending it, we should have some kind of a priority or a guideline.
Right.
What one other thing we discussed was using some of that money for for aid and help of doing a future grant too as well.
right,
So it's only $4,000.
right.
And I heard a lot of things here that could cost a lot of money, so that's why I'm kind of emphasizing that we should lay it all down on a piece of paper, see what it's gonna
Right.
cost before we spend it.
Well, yeah, Bruce, remember, we decided not to make any decisions at our last meeting because we really want to, weigh the options and things
We
like
had to
that.
get approval on this
All
first.
right, we can move on to approving.
Right.
So any other discussion before we vote to sign? Yes, accept.
I take it someone on your committee's taking responsibility for making sure that Judy or Melissa get a copy of the contract for the
Yes,
contract.
I am. I am,
And-
but I'm,
That's a good idea.
And also, will someone be sending me, or should I make a copy tonight of the contract so I can put it in the grants log?
oh, you should, yeah, I did email out the grant to you unsigned, but
You
yes,
did.
it should. I did a long time ago, as soon as it was awarded. I'll email it again. It's not a
Thank you.
problem.
Thank you.
But yeah, that should definitely go into a grant slug. Thank you, Stan.
Yeah,
Any other
I have-
discussion? Okay. And hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the grant in the amount of $4,000 for municipal energy resilience program phase 1, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Bruce, you want to sign it? Okay. And then should Bruce slide this over to you? Or do you want to make copies
I can do
later?
that right now.
Okay.
Sure.
We'll do it up here.
And then if Paul brings the original back, I can fax it to the woman who I've been in contact with. We're faxable here. We're faxable or emailable in our house, so I can scan it and send her I asked her if she needed the original or if a emailed signature was fine, and she said that's fine. So.
Okay. As soon as Stan comes back, we'll move on.
Okay, I'm really tired.
I can spend $4,000 very quickly.
That's the point. That's exactly the point.
Is that a grant for all municipal buildings or?
It's just for doing research for what needs to be done. It's not
But for.
for the municipal.
Yes, it doesn't have anything to do with paying for the assessment, or anything like that.
Okay.
That's different. That gets paid for. Just give us a little extra money to play with. Oh, I didn't say that. It's a bit.
Yeah, it's pretty wide open, but it can't be used to buy equipment. That's very clear.
Am I correct in assuming that on some of the sheets of paper on the back side, if I see something that says scope of work or some other topic, that's paper that's been used to copy something else and it's not part of this contract? You're muted. You're muted. You're
Myself.
muted.
A lot of it is double-sided, Stan.
It
So-
is.
Yes, because it's 12 pages and I'm using up paper a lot at home. So But I did the signature pages. I tried to give them to Paul as single-sided sheets.
Okay.
And I will make sure that everybody has a copy of our sign, and we'll still have to get the sign, the signature from the Building and General Services Department, BGS, which is who's funding this. So
All right, so
you
we have
know,
a copy and.
the final contract will be distributed.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, next item up is the recent storm discussion, emergency support, backup help, any updates, FEMA documentation, progress and assistance. I'll have to say, I'll just start it off saying, this storm is being handled much, much differently by FEMA than the last storm. I've never gotten so many emails and updates
Oh,
and
dang.
storm, have you been getting them all?
Oh, my
All of
God.
us been getting
I've been
them?
getting it not from FEMA per se, but
That's
from an emergency
State
management.
management, it's the state, they're all.
VLCT, all
Correct,
kinds of stuff.
and it's just being handled quite differently. In fact, I did receive an email from the
Wow.
FEMA Division Supervisor Introduction, Division B, Wyndham County, our project manager, new one, number 4, David Zarnick, for this storm, which is now known as Storm 4720. This is Storm 4720, Disaster Relief Vermont,
Can I make a
DRVT.
quick observation when you're done with that?
I'm sorry?
Can I make a quick observation when you're done with that?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I'm just gonna state what you said at the beginning, that this is being handled differently. The storm, I'm assuming that you're referring to the July 21 hurricane.
Yes,
The
yeah,
July 21 hurricane is a lot more localized and a lot less in terms of dollars and cents than this mess. This, I think they have over 200 FEMA representatives in the state.
yes, right now, this is a much larger storm and it's been,
And
they're looking at doing 100% coverage, not just 75%. They're looking at also helping private residents besides municipalities.
now this is
So-
different than the hurricane. And also, not to cut you off, but now we all, so we have this influx of the politicians, our senators and congresswomen being involved in this one. We didn't have this before. And I'm leading to a point. The point is, we've been waiting 2 years for money not to get off on track. For money for our $168,500. I think that we might consider, oh, how do I want to make this politically correct? I'm not going to get on their ass if they don't give us our money.
It's not a matter of
Yeah.
them delaying us. There's job and work that we need to do to get the whole thing complete from 2021 in
Okay,
order to get the money.
okay,
And so we've got to bring the resources together to make sure that it happens quickly.
okay.
By
But the
September.
question I asked Patrick, the only question I asked Patrick, he had a couple of loose ends to get us our 150,000, which is 168,000 minus the 10% back. He said that he had a couple of loose ends, a couple of things that he had to do in order for us to get that money. Now, am I understanding this all wrong?
A little
Because-
bit.
Because
Little
I'm
bit.
nosediving, and I understand that, but I'm just trying to understand. And all I see is work that was completed, yes, for the first 168,000, and how long was that completed? 6 months, maybe?
Well, I haven't
mean-
done everything that I had promised for
I don't
tonight's
wanna be
meeting.
critical, I
but-
understand.
To answer your question, I went and started downloading spreadsheets that had been sent to me by various people. Dot, people from FEMA, et cetera. There are spreadsheets that have job numbers. And some of them are 90% done, and there's other things that are not complete. So we've got to be a part of that negotiation or discussion about confirming that either we've done that 10% that's remaining, or that we need to get it done. So there's communication that needs to happen from what I see. And if I'm wrong,
Okay.
Dot, tell me.
No, you're absolutely right.
So Patrick was not totally clear when he answered my question.
Well, I think he was taking responsibility for some of the animosity that we were directing at him, kind of.
Well, I didn't, I wasn't animosity.
Well, you know, we're
I just
putting
said-
him on the spot, kind
Well,
of.
it's a
Well,
fair
whatever.
question. I'm
It's
sorry,
not
am I
worth
wrong?
discussing at this
No,
point.
am I
other than-
wrong?
No, I'm not saying anything's
Okay.
right or
I'm
wrong.
just trying to understand it. And all I see is at least, I see a damn road budget that we got obliterated on last year. And it was because of that. And I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't see an end to it. And that's what I'm trying to see. what
The only end is gonna require
When we
hard work,
finish our work,
hard work,
we have to
both
finish. the work.
administratively
So
and
Patrick
on the streets.
wasn't he was being kind and not saying that we had to do our end.
He said he has not
could've.
been reading everything on Brookline specifically. He's had other things he's been working with, and he apologized that he wasn't as prepared as he could have been for the meeting.
Okay. Okay, I'm good. Now, there's one more last question, if I might. So the last part of this, the FEMA project from July, 2 years ago, is the stuff we did a couple weeks ago, 30 some odd $1,000. And other than other loose ends, by the end of September, we should be complete with everything if we've done our end.
I don't know, I can't answer that. What I can tell you is when I've gone in and looked at the site and I printed some things out. They had like Holland Hill Road, they had approved a mitigation upgrade to the, I think a 5 or 7 foot high wing wall on the uphill side. But that was only because when they did the cost comparison, to determine whether it was 100% of the cost or not, it was done assuming that it was just a repair with a new wing wall. We're now talking about something that goes 40 feet long on a different angle. So looking at that, first thought I thought of is, have we as a town bridged the idea of, does it cancel the mitigation of the 5 or 7 foot high wing wall? Because now we're mitigating the whole thing, or are they gonna honor that part and build the rest of it in as an additional mitigation and lump the whole thing together to discern whether it's 100% cost or not? I mean, there's so many unknowns to this that prop up periodically that I can't be of any help to anybody other than say, I have a concern about this issue. How many more might there be?
Good point. And, you know, after watching that meeting several weeks ago, my observation was the other gentleman, Dylan, what was his name? I've forgotten his name. Not the one that was from the state, but the two from FEMA, Patrick and the older guy. He seemed to have his act together. I just put my body language. He said, well, we could do this to straighten this out to get this to move forward. And I guess that's what I'm having a problem with here, the direction. And you two busted your tail off doing this. I didn't do crap. So I understand I'm nose diving right into it.
You're welcome to do this next storm though, Bruce. I'm gonna put it. No, I'm not. I'm serious.
Look, we'll talk about that at another time, but.
Okay,
So
so
is
we
that
got
what
other
we're
things.
talking about now?
We're talking about the
The
storm.
next storm? The one
Yeah,
that we're.
most recent storm discussion.
So anyway, I
It
think.
seems like we're going back to
I know.
Yeah.
the past.
yeah.
which
I
You're right.
think I'm
prefer
done
not
with
to
this
do that.
You're right.
I don't see an end to it. That's what's upsetting me. And I just want to understand that's.
It really is gonna take time. I mean, there's a lot of time. I would like to sit down with people who have worked on it on behalf of the town and go over some of the stuff I've seen and said, and ask the, has this been dealt with? Has this been dealt with? So, but that's another time, another
Let's
night.
talk about this dew storm
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Emergency support. Mark, you had, we authorized you to call in AS Clark, but they were busy up in Jamaica, so they weren't available. And Sam Bourne showed up with his excavator and did some mitigation and helped up at the Athens Road site. And did you use Why Not Work at all?
At that point, I had most everything was under control.
Okay, because I know they were busy and available
Yeah.
probably.
They said they were, you know, available as
It's
needed,
not,
but they
it's
had.
just a matter, again,
at that
I'd like to
point,
do other
we-
things, but you gotta put
Pretty
in
much
time.
action with FEMA all the time. So you can't like give them 5 minutes.
We just want to make sure that you
Patrick or something.
understand.
What do you think about this? What do you think about that?
This is discontinued.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Actually, go ahead.
Just want to say that, you know, again, emergency support, we do have backup. We do have the local emergency plan. Everybody should have a copy of this. This has been emailed out in the past before, and it has a list of who we can call and such. Sam Bourne is not on here. He's not on here. We did receive his insurance, however, and I would like to add him to the emergency management plan.
Does that need to be voted on? or-
I think I could put it on an agenda for the next time, but I would like to add Sam Warren. I think he did a tremendous job And,
He was right there in the minute storm. Gave us issues and, you know, he offered whatever we needed. And while I was busy at one end of town.
right, so I'll check with, Alyssa Sabato about how to amend it and add on another vendor, and then we
I
put
was
it on the
already
agenda.
under the assumption he was on that list.
No, he never really worked for it. The first time he applied for any RFP was for the culvert mitigation, but he's never been on it. He's offered help. And and I did say, if you have insurance, and he sent it right away.
I know that he also was in on the bidding for.
The culverts.
Culvert.
Right, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, so but you should know that we do have people to back you up
Yeah.
and not to try to do everything yourself.
Sure.
That's why I put the LEMP update. FEMA documentation, again, they've been sending an awful lot of stuff. I tell you, I don't know how to keep up with it. It's just,
They expect this all there.
this is just how to engage in the sole source vending. I haven't had a chance to read it all.
I can
It's just-
understand.
It's.
I've downloaded what they've
I
sent.
download
me,
too, but I gotta print it out because I can't read
But
it. on the
yeah, it
computer.
needs to be absorbed. I guess the immediate question I have is, on the day of the storm and or the following day, did anyone in town, I know you apparently went around, you put cones out. Did you take photos and do the GPS
I
measurements?
have no GPS, no. No
Okay.
GPS measurements.
I did the GPS after the fact, so I would assume those would still be valid. And you've got the photos of, as of the damage occurring, I've got photos as of damage repaired.
Correct.
So is there anything from your experience to date that we haven't done at this point that we should have done in terms of
They're
field
not
work?
gonna like our GPS numbers because they're not gonna,
Because they're not.
they never just match. You'll just find that.
Well,
We can actually
Unbelievable.
have somebody come out from like Wyndham Retail. They would probably be correct, but.
But they just don't take.
what is it?
civilian-
They've got a professional model GPS?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
Now,
don't know what the difference is, but that's what they use.
Is there a document they've sent us that validates or indicates how or what is acceptable in their readings? Or should I contact somebody and ask that question? Or you've already done
I'm
that?
just saying, from my experience, anytime I took GPS numbers, I was told they weren't accurate enough. And I just gave up on it. We did get an email that Guy Tanza shared with us. It says, Stafford uses an app called Solocator. You can
Yes.
buy a complete package for $3.99. The app takes pictures with the GPS coordinates printed on the picture. And then you can edit the picture immediately, rewrite the description on the picture with the road number and name, so you can also add the site number. And this was from JK, another
Yeah,
person. So I think this is something definitely worth downloading, buying for $3.99 and being.
that's $3.99, right?
$3.99.
I couldn't believe that. I thought the decimal points were wrong place.
That was hard to believe.
Yeah, so I will probably download it myself just because I want to be able to do GPS coordinates accurately. And of course would be reimbursed. So that would be my suggestion going forward, that plan. So again, a lot of material to absorb and review on this new storm, and contacting this new person. He wants to says the supervisor, he wants to meet us in person. My role as the district supervisor is your primary point of contact for FEMA program service delivery, including individual assistance, public assistance. I don't know if this means it's for the residents as well. Additionally, should be supporting disaster survival assistance in the field. So I'd like to find time to meet with us in person at our convenience.
Doc?
So what can we do to coordinate a meeting on
That's
this?
just for this storm.
Yes.
Okay, I'm answering.
I'm open. As long as I don't have something already pre-scheduled, I'd meet it with them anytime.
Okay.
I know how the other people feel.
Do you want to be involved in?
I would love to, but I just.
Right.
I'm saying.
So
Paul?
how long of a commitment is that?
It's
I mean,
the
that's-
story.
Could be a
You know,
year,
let's get
year
through
and a
this-
No,
try to
I'm
get through
talking
the
about
story.
the initial one.
The meeting. is
Initial
usually
meeting,
an hour.
probably now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just 1 hour meeting. When is
Yeah.
it? If I can, I will.
Okay, I'd like to
Okay.
find time to meet with us, so I'm gonna say there, so I
I
will
want to
have to,
encourage that.
I will have to, call a meeting if it's gonna be 3 or more select board
Now,
members.
the thing about that is that gonna include, I mean, I know you sent that thing about Mill Drive. Where they were talking about that road being washed out by this storm. Would that include something like
I
that?
have no idea.
I mean,
I know.
That's a question to ask him.
It's a question to ask to see if that would be part of it. Now, Merrill Drive, I also was wondering if they were asking if in a roundabout way to have the town take over their road.
I suspect that was built into it, but I can't say.
So-
for sure.
We
There's
should-
two-
I didn't
Someone
see
should
that.
just ask them, because there's, I mean, and we should make sure they get, I was gonna go looking for the FEMA info for private individuals, because they could certainly start there, since they haven't done the work to improve it yet. And now it's eroded. So they should be able to access some thing. I
But
just
that's-
don't
that is
remember.
not- It's not something the town is going to do.
No,
It's-
right.
it's
I
not-
just
it's not-
was thinking, if I've gotten an email that, spells out some of the places to go looking for private FEMA reconstruction and repairs, just pass the information on to them, since their road is still private at this time. We're
My
not
question
doing,
is, there's been a lot of damages on private property, and
Right.
I need to be able to not just, I need to have an access form to send out to everybody, because I
Right.
can't miss anybody.
no, I think we should. That would be a good service, make sure people know. That's it.
There is a lot of stuff going on Front Porch Forum. We don't have a wide web coverage. We don't have a full, complete, email listserv, so it's gonna be hit or miss. It's gonna have to, people are gonna have to get it from the newspaper, the radio. It's, besides just expecting Brookline to communicate every detail. But we'll do as best as we can as we go forward. Yes.
I've seen at least 2 documents that I've received that deal with damage to individuals' properties. And there is a process for it. It's not to be included in the municipal side of things. And I will make sure I review that. I believe they've recommended that we provide people with the email address and or the regular mailing address of the governmental agency to which individuals can apply for assistance. They do have a program for individuals, but it's not one that's built into what our entity or any other town is going to be doing. I'm not sure how that applies to private roads.
All right, well, if you should share, I mean, I'd like to be
Absolutely.
able to put together a comprehensive letter. For Front Porch Forum, letter to,
Yeah.
I don't care, just to get everybody on the same page, but.
Could leave us one here at the town office. They can come by and pick it up during open hours. If it's not too long, we can put it on all the 3 bulletin
That's
boards,
good.
put it in Front Porch Forum,
Yes.
whatever. There's plenty of help that we can give them.
All right, but I think it's important to do all of that, and as you run into anything, just highlight it and
Okay.
move it up.
Coming your way.
Before you change the topic there, I just wanted to say, the day of the storm, I was busy on Putney Mountain and coming up through town, and Sanborn called a couple of times to see. He was right next door to this issue that we addressed on Athens Road, so it was very convenient that he was there. The culvert plugged, and there was amount of debris over the culvert, a third of the size of this room we're sitting in, so he redug the culvert, got it to take water.
Somebody did a nice job of putting the stone
Yes.
thing there.
He's got an.
Fantastic.
Did a great job. Before, I couldn't really get in there to clean the culvert, and we ended up taking the culverts out. They were full of, the rocks tumbled inside.
Oh,
Wow.
you've done that.
Plugged it, so we dug up 2 lengths and ended up replacing 1 length and added a half one back to gain the culvert distance and then set it up so it can be cleaned easily.
And he was also able to provide us with a stream diverting pump and water to divert the stream so
Really?
that they could work in a dry area.
Wow.
So that was
And
Has anyone here seen the video that Dan Schoner did of the river coming across from
Yeah, I
that?
saw that.
That was amazing. If FEMA ever needs anything to document that, it's scary. I was fearing for his property integrity and his safety when I saw that. That was amazing.
Did you all get the folder to, he created a folder to put all of our any FEMA related videos or pictures we might have if we want to centralize them.
I don't know how to upload things into a folder. I just don't have that. I don't have the time to sit there and do all that.
That's okay. I mean, but I mean, somebody can, maybe he can do it for you. You know, you don't have to do it all yourself, or maybe we'll get an admin person who can do that. But it's
We need them now. All right, there anything else? But, you know, like I said, we got a lot of reading to do and follow up and communicate with our residents. It was pretty significant.
Well, as far as reporting, our FEMA issues, or not FEMA issues, or erosion issues from the storm. At what point does it become FEMA fundable? Is it 6-inch erosion or 1 foot of erosion? Like a lot of places, there was erosion down the edge of the road. And I was able to just, you know,
Maintenance clean. I don't know.
that's the question.
Yeah, I don't know. I just need you to keep your notes as to what was what, and then we will apply it best we can. If we talk to this person, David Zarnick, and find out those questions, and I'll let you know about when we can meet, because I think it'll be important that you come. He's gonna come in person, so. All right, I'm gonna move on to equipment update, Vermont Treasury Municipal Loan Fund notes. Oh, Stan, I'm sorry.
Has anyone here seen the spreadsheet that was done by whoever in the town handled the flood in 2011, Irene and 12?
No,
Would anyone like to see how they did that? It is so simple and neat and concise
in that.
as a sample for what we could do. No, I don't know if it's here or not, but what I did do way back when I was on the select board back then, is I made a copy of it, so I have it on my computer. And if anyone has it is, when I opened it up, my first thought was, why isn't FEMA doing that with us now? Whoever created it did a nice job.
Well, you know what, this.
And you can understand,
The
that's the
agency
thing.
of transportation was sent one out too, it's sort of easy to follow.
I looked at what was sent recently that you had mentioned at one of the last two select, and that is, I mean, it outlines stuff, but it's not concise and summary.
I'd like
So you
to
can
see
pick
it.
a number and say, oh, that's what was owed for that, until they finished it. And, you know, and there's several columns there that's informational as well. I'll send it along. You can take a look
Okay.
at, see if we should consider doing something like that for this event.
Anything to make life organized, I'd be appreciated.
And I know this may sound like a dumb question to ask, but while the work was being done, were the hours kept track of, and the personnel time and the machinery hours?
I told Sam to log all of his hours, materials, everything is pumped, any equipment
Okay,
that we. use.
so that's available.
Also, talk to Clark's about gravels and help Sam saying any gravels that get billed to the town. We don't know where it's delivered to, where it was used. And the road, so.
Good, sounds thorough, Mark.
Yeah, that's what we need.
And I did take photos of pretty much most areas I covered, during, some after the storm.
Mhm.
And I'm, you know, even this morning, I'm still locating some issues that hadn't been looked at yet, so. I'm not sure if the state, there was some sort of an email about inspecting our bridges
Yes, they were, I don't have that with me today, but
So
they were,
are they gonna do the 20 footers in bigger, or are we?
I don't have an answer to that, but there was, who even sent it? It was about coming and inspecting bridges. I'm saying I definitely want Bridge 19, which is the Green Iron Bridge, the bridge out here, the Papoose Lane Bridge, Sunny Rinks would
I
probably be
mean,
good.
some of them, the water's still fairly high to get to where you can.
Yeah. I don't remember who
It
it
was
was.
either the Wyndham Regional, Art, or AOT.
I
Both of them
talked
have
to
jurisdiction.
Megan about, a couple of things today, and she is sending Tyler up tomorrow morning at 8 to meet here. And she wanted me to take him around and show him what damage we had, and I told her that I can do that. I wasn't, didn't have everything looked at yet, but I feel like we got the majority.
I think, yeah, it's much smaller factual of damage, just,
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
yeah, we're lucky in that
in
regard.
that respect.
yeah, we really got lucky compared, if you watch the news and look at other towns, we really escaped.
As I was riding around and I saw where you had gone with the new piece of equipment and took out parts of the ditches along the road to be guiding, that saved a lot of,
I tell
Problem.
you, this guy, Ed Schaefer up here on Putney Mountain at the top of the pavement. He almost lost his house 2 years ago, July, from this very similar storm. And I had gone up by his house, I checked the roads twice, was on my way to Holland Hill. Had a call for culverts that possibly were overflowing, so I was headed over there to address those, and it just began to rain harder and harder, and as I got near the top of the mountain, this Ed Schaefer called me and said, I don't know where you are, he said, but the water is heading from my house, it's coming across my driveway right now. I said, I'll be right there, so.
he had the sandbags, I think, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and I started bailing the water, the ditches, up onto the pavement to allow
I saw that.
deeper.
Good
trough
idea.
For the water, and it did, it stopped it from going down
Wonderful.
his driveway, and he keeps saying to me every time I see it for it.
Has he thought about putting a culvert under his driveway? I don't think he's got one there, if I recall.
No, he doesn't, we built a berm, all the way down the shoulder.
Uh-huh.
Once the new culvert's in, it should handle a good share of the water, and I was thinking, well, there's a hydraulic hammer there, if we could do a little extra digging for the overflow to follow that down the ditch to the next culvert would be beneficial. But, yeah, that really, having a machine and get it being there, I believe saved a lot of troubles for him. He had to dig out last year. He thought sure the house was going away. And he never got any assistance.
No, you have to pay for that on himself.
Wow.
Nothing.
So,
He rented an excavator, did everything.
we'll see that, if
He
we
gets
find out anything else for him, make sure let's get it to him.
Good idea.
All right, I'm gonna move on. Equipment update, Vermont Treasury Municipal Loan Fund Security Agreement was mailed certified return receipt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and I've been tracking with the flood in Montpelier. The Pavilion Building at 109 State Street is closed. They have no idea when it's gonna open. So there's nobody there to receive, apparently, the letter the document that we mailed, signed and executed to the treasurer's office.
did he get a scan of it though, too?
I've emailed him the scan, so he's got hopefully that, but he has not even responded, Matt Jenkins, to say, thanks, got it, or received it. I'll email him again tomorrow and say, haven't heard from you about the email, but
Right.
when do you think you might be going back? Anybody like that apparently is being asked to call the Human Resources Department for the state of Vermont in Montpelier. And they're being told what building they can go back. It was interesting to note that the building that stores alcohol for the state of Vermont
Is open.
was open very early.
Very first day.
Once
The
we,
warehouse.
once we
The
find out,
warehouse, yeah, you got that right.
Remembering with the canoe, yeah.
I am concerned, I want to make sure you know, we accepted the loan. And then we have, when do we talk to Alta about the fact that we are doing the option to purchase? We wait till we get the money.
Well, we have the contract signed, so we're protected there. I don't know what discussions went on because I never really talked to Alta other
Okay,
than
okay.
correct documents that
So my
needed
question
assistance.
is it now do I call Alta and say, look, we are doing
It would be a good idea to say we are getting the loan. Unfortunately, it is Montpelier and the office that handles it is closed.
As
soon as we can.
We're just gonna have to wait for, I don't believe the situation.
They're making
changed.
$6,500 a month.
Yeah, the situation hasn't changed because we have 6 months in order to purchase it. So as far as that goes, it doesn't matter if we did today or 4 months.
Yeah, it
For them,
does,
for them,
because
for
From
them,
them, it doesn't, no.
for us, it does. So, we
So my own
we can't buy it
Shall
until
I
we
call
get an agreement with these.
All right, I'm gonna call Alta.
And Bruce's comment at the last meeting about keeping track of what in fact out of that $6,500 is gonna be coming back to us
I think it's 47.
is a critical,
And every-
4550, I think is the amount
Right.
each month that comes back. to us.
Okay, and then every month, well, we did 2 months. Because July would be paid now, we get 1 more month, it's another $4,500 that will make less money that we have to go into ARPA,
Mm.
which is kind of neat, right?
All right, so,
Depends on when they.
So that's the latest. We're dead in the water,
Oh,
no
you know,
pun
another thing,
intended.
Stan, we don't know when they're gonna execute, we might sign the papers, but given the situation, we don't know when they're actually gonna execute the loan, do we?
that's what I'm saying. We
They're
don't
pretty,
know
they're
anything.
pretty quick. I mean, if the fact that we had had a meeting Wednesday, I said they were probably gonna meet the next day.
And they did.
Thursday afternoon, they told me we got it, and Friday they confirmed it by another person. And we got the treasurer got the within 4 or 5 days, period, not work days, but including the weekend. They seem to be pretty quick once they get going. It's the issue of when are they gonna go to work
Yeah, that's it,
or do
And
work
how-
at home that's so
right,
permissible.
and how backlogged they are because they were down.
Yeah,
All right, so I will
Gentlemen.
just touch base briefly with Alta, let them know, we don't know when
Good idea.
when the funds will be available to pay off that, but just let them know. On the 17th of July, I contacted the company that has the mower because originally that was when we were gonna get a delivery and they were gonna give me a call back and you know, I have to find out, I have to call them again because I didn't get a call back. Oh, maybe you got a
I
call?
made contact.
Okay.
They called me back today
Yes.
and, we will see the mower probably August because of the delivery coming from the factory.
August.
Oh, wait a minute, they said they were gonna get it to us in July.
And then they had to make the link that
Right,
attaches the JCB to the mower.
All right, so it's a delay.
That's at the factory, and as soon as it's ready, it's coming here from Washington.
Washington State,
All right, so
So,
did we pay them in advance? So
11, so you're talking another 10 days. Yes, we said we paid, we sent the check in, they're paid. So we're talking about a 10-day delay.
and I asked him if he could, give the delivery my personal phone so that I could be there to unload the truck as the next delivery.
Mark, is that a general of the state, or did he give you a specific date?
I'm gonna call and
He said it
confirm.
should be 1st of August.
Okay.
I'm gonna call and confirm.
keyword is should be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Next item, Bruce, you asked for an item here, dump
Yeah.
truck.
This has been sitting in front of me for a while. Mark, back in May, early May, 2nd of May, has seen a truck up in Claremont, which is still available. And I'm gonna divert over to Mark for a minute, because I want him to explain what the truck is thoroughly. I know you've seen some pictures of it, is that correct, Dot?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? I
No.
thought he'd shown me some pictures of his computer. Of his phone. Anyway,
I saw pictures of something at the dealership in Westminster.
No, that was
This is
different.
Okay.
so explain what it is, Mark. It's a lot better if you, because you've seen the truck.
So I happen to be in the town of Claremont, New Hampshire for other reasons, and there's a dealership there that sells everything from lawnmowers to heavy trucks, you name it. And I saw a good looking truck sitting there. It's a Ford F-550 dump truck. And it has a 11-foot dump body. And I told him to look at it, inspected the outside, it's rust free. It has 54,000 original miles. It was owned by a local farmer. We just use it locally. And somehow this place ended up with the truck, and it's 2008 four-wheel drive, dual wheels in the back, and it's for sale. And I took pictures all over it and around it.
I can send them to you. I can.
Thank you.
send them
If there
over.
was any interest, and
I thought you sent to you too. I know.
so it appears to be very good shape for the year. And it's the same, basically the same truck that the town of Athens drives. And they use it for everything. They have one.
Can you explain to the board, excuse me, Mark,
Yeah.
exactly specifically how that would help you?
Oh, okay, so, being that the town doesn't own a truck yet, I use my own personal vehicle to check the roads daily. And I also carry all the implements, equipment, and tools. I take signs around, I deliver, reflective bins, anything that needs, I pull the road rakes, I pull the leaf blower. I use a utility trailer. I pull behind my truck occasionally for town work. But this particular truck is small enough, it runs on diesel fuel, which we own a diesel tank that uses the same fuel that the grader uses, and the same fuel that the excavator uses. And this has a rugged trailer hitch, so it can tow all of the above that I mentioned. I can reach into the back, I carry a chainsaw, shovel on a daily basis when I'm checking culverts. So it's a small enough vehicle to monitor the roads, yet big enough to haul materials and dump the materials out that are needed. So in lots of areas of work, materials can be loaded or unloaded or brought to a particular site in town. Yeah, it would just be, I mean, I don't have a problem using my truck, it's just a lot of extra wear and tear. Mud season, this truck could be very, it could carry crushed stone over mud spots.
And you can't do that with your truck.
Can't do that with mine.
What else can't you do without your truck that this truck would do? That specifically, what your truck can't do?
Okay, I could carry culverts on top of this to, say the steel plates that we use to, when we install culverts, we use the down purchase steel plates to, keep traffic flow. It would just, be very beneficial.
What do you do, Mark, when you can't, like the steel plates, etc., that you can't use, it might be too obvious, that you can't use with your truck? How do you transport?
See,
You call somebody else?
What I have done when we rented excavator is, rent the town my trailer behind the excavator to load the culverts and the plates, and I go with the extra charge for my rented trailer. My truck is too light duty to haul any other materials, this truck, most of the trucks that size are rated at 1 ton. This one is more like a 1.5 tons. It's 2 ton capacity carrying.
Oh, I think we've established
All right.
that it would be useful. Where are we gonna get the money for this truck?
Everybody's looking at it. Okay, there's several ways you can do it. The first way, you can finance it 100%. Based on the price of the unit, that's about $550 a month.
You have to get a town meeting though.
No, you don't. No, you do not. I have it right here. If you want to argue about whether you have to go through the town or not, you don't have to. I have the documentation right here. Secondly, if we don't choose that, can we borrow ARPA money funds and refund that fund that we took the money out when we get our FEMA money back? Question. Okay, there's a number of different ways we can finance it, but the worst way is just going out and financing it for $550. I'd already talked to Melissa about this weeks ago, in conjunction with a higher payment for financing with Alta, and even with a higher payment with monthly with Alta, it could be worked into the summer services budget. The road fund.
So you're saying that there's money,
Yes, there's a number of different ways to skin this cat. Of course, we'd have to decide on that, of course, first. But I did call this gentleman, excuse me, Dustin, I think his name is, about 5 or 6 days ago, and asked him if they still had it. And what they have been using it for their dealership. They really like the truck, it's really useful for them. And this is sending me a couple of signals. One, they like the unit, so it's in good shape. Of course, we'd have to inspect it. Two, it hasn't sold, which I thought was kind of peculiar. Well, it's given this market. I don't know if they've actively tried to sell it or not. But I think personally, and I haven't checked other vehicles online, that we might be able to do better than this 2032.9 in the asking price or whatever it is. That we get up there, I get up there and start beating on a little bit because it hasn't sold, because they're using it. Now this mileage that Mark pointed to is probably higher now. I don't know how much, 52,496 on May 2nd. So I don't know how much he's put on it.
You just said 54,000.
This says 52,496. So whatever is your pleasure. I think that it just is a part of keeping the commitment we've made to Mark to help him out. We're in the new normal now. I think we all understand that. New normal is, well, we just had a storm 10 days ago. And my first reaction was, but it's not the end of July. We haven't completed hurricane season yet. This can happen again and again and again. So what I'm driving at is some more help we can give Mark. And I think this whole idea to adjunct to it, of getting Sanborn online, Thomas Bloom, commitment from those people to help Mark in case of a disaster. We never know we're gonna need it. We've seen it happen twice in the last 2 years. So this goes a long way in making Mark's job much more expedient and efficient. And
So what do you want us to do from here?
well, we have to decide whether we want to go forward with it. And we can't do that tonight because it's not put up for a vote. You have to do that as an agenda item. Correct?
I
And I think we
when
should
it
do-
comes time to discuss, I'll say whatever I feel.
what did you say?
I said, we've kind of discussed this, but when other people are finished, I would like to say whatever I'm thinking as well.
Have at it. I'm done.
Okay,
I could see, I thought purchasing a hydraulic trailer that could be pulled with behind because Mark's gonna have to take the truck, drive it and then drive it back, and then get the excavator and drive it back. I figured if you had a hydraulic trailer, put it on the back of the excavator and the two pieces of equipment are in the
That's an
same
idea.
spot.
What do you think about that?
And then you wouldn't have to have another piece of engine equipment, no insurance or
Okay.
registration.
Okay,
It's something that would do the work. It's not gonna be able to drive around and check the roads, so, but you have to use the excavator to drive around and check the roads. I don't know if that's economical.
So it is another good option. And definitely could have great benefits that way.
Well, the other thing, though, that what you're saying is, if Mark had a helper, you'd have two people, one guy could drive the truck and.
The select board has to decide, and they're looking at the next budget, whether or not we can afford to have two people and a truck.
Well, what Samara's talked about, that Mark doesn't really use his budget completely right now.
Well, because he didn't have a piece of equipment until now. He hasn't been able to use anything after we've only rented it for 2 months. So 10 months of the year, he couldn't do any of this work. Now he can, because we're gonna buy it. So he will be using more hours.
Right.
I empathize with you, cost conscious and being conscious cost wise. But we have to realize he's gonna need another person. He has needed another person. You know that, Don. He's out there, what time of night with no backup, with a chainsaw, clearing the, having a road crew with one person. We have to, and believe me, I spent a lot of time this last week.
We need to do the research on getting road crew, because I don't think they're out there to be gotten.
Well, I've talked to Mark about this a little bit, and we've kind of ingest.
It's another meeting.
Okay, don't.
Yeah.
Please,
But just
It's another
advising,
meeting.
just,
there's only so much we can get accomplished today.
I got that, not coming into it.
There's no numbers, no black and white
But I didn't
figures,
bring up
where are we
the
saving
technical
money, all this other stuff.
All right, well, maybe we should continue at another time, that's okay. But I'm just saying, he's gonna need a second man, we're gonna have to budget for it, we're gonna have to correct the budget in order to allow for it, because the time has come. It's just that. So we can do it at another meeting, I'm not gonna push too hard on it. If you want, I'll send you all copies and pictures of what Mark sent me of the machine, and we can just bring it up for discussion next time. Rushing to buy something is not always the greatest thing to do, things, so. Let's consider all the options.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for pursuing all this. You know, I greatly appreciate having the equipment to use, and I'm not pushing you to, you know, burden the town more and more and more. I just, I appreciate what I've got. I would like to take the burden off my own personal vehicle if you know, at some point, if that could happen. My brakes are go quicker than normal, checking Putney Mountain, you know, roughly 30 miles each time I check the roads. The day of the flood, I was out there around town 3 times.
Mm,
So
We hear you.
9
Okay.
miles and tires, brakes.
You've made the case, Mark.
I do get paid
Yes, she has.
for someone to get money, but it would be nice to have that.
So when we revisit this next time, organize a little better, I'll send you all out the information also, as the pictures, as you can see for the truck, and then we can discuss it.
Okay.
All I wanted to say.
Oh, you will.
You know, it sounds so simple. And you know, it would have been so simple if we had actually, this last November, December, January, in our budget, planned to purchase a piece of equipment, planned to purchase a heavy-duty truck, because it's been needed a while. But none of us took that step. And to now, you know, I did collections at a bank for 15 years. One of the commercial issues is when you have people starting a new business, only 1 out of 5 fail, make it, survive. It's because the picture of that cupcake looked really great. You gotta sit down and put the numbers to the pedal.
Yes, you do.
You gotta make sure that what we're saving on one side is being covered by the other, so we don't further expose the citizens of the town.
No,
I don't know who else got their tax bill, but mine is $700 higher this year than it was last year. We didn't put the statistics of what the percentage increases was in our town report. There's a lot that we need to be doing in looking in the future and ahead to make sure that what we're doing makes economic sense. We got to possibly borrow for the schools, possibly borrow for shortages in FEMA money. And now we're looking at a 32.5 loan for a truck. I mean, when I start to sit here and look at what is coming across the plate in terms of what we could do, I'm saying to myself, My natural inclination is to not put myself out any more than I have to on a limb. Because if you had asked us 2 months ago, if we were gonna have the storm we had this month,
Right.
and we got the rest of the year to go,
Yeah. that's
what
true.
else could happen to shorten our monetary means? And I'm just sitting here thinking, next week, next 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, unless I see numbers and how to cut
Yes.
costs and expenses to make the thing work, I'm not voting for it,
I understand and agree.
period.
I understand.
Okay,
and agree. And one last point. I looked at our tax bill quite closely. I talked to the town clerk, I've analyzed. My first tax payment to this town was in November of 1979. I have never seen an increase of 22.5%. We have to address it. That's a part of the discussion, you're right, Stan. So if you think I wanna go be a spend crazy to do this, no, this has to work financially. It has to be reasonable. End of story.
That's comforting to hear.
All right, I'm gonna move on to unfinished business.
Yep.
We have some.
We have, that was tabled, hazard mitigation plan update subcommittee is needed.
You want to hear what happened on
Yes.
Fact TV? Doesn't have
Okay.
No, we were gonna talk about that in communications. and
Oh, okay, all right.
Because it's on there twice.
Okay, so it's hazard mitigation, me and Samara. Samara, you're muted. There you go.
Yeah,
Be
I
quiet.
wasn't saying anything.
Okay. Okay, well, the bottom line is this, if you have nothing to offer at this point, Margot Gia emailed me last week and said she wants to begin talking with Brookline about the hazard mitigation plan. She sent me a document, which I sent to you all yesterday, of the types of things that she wants to begin talking about. That list that I sent to you, that she sent to me, goes back to 2017 when we did the last hazard mitigation plan. And I don't have knowledge that many of those things were implemented. I'm not sure if she's going to ask us to reflect and consider those for this next 5-year period. But in regards to being prepared for that meeting and any other subsequent to the middle of August, it would seem inherent that number C here under 7, the planning committee, be implemented as well. I know, Samara, you said you were gonna try to contact Mr. Clickguard, did you? And how did that go?
I wasn't able to get in touch with him this week. It was just a bad week, but and does anyone have his phone number? Because I don't have it, so I'll have to get it. Otherwise, I'll just walk over there. I will contact him. I understand from Barbara Bourne, he's still the chair. And there's him, Charlie Ezekiel, and Barbara Bourne are active on the committee. And Barbara is well aware that they need to, pick up the trail on this and start working on town plan. I talked to her, because really there are 3 things that all kind of go into town planning: the hazard mitigation, the general town plan, and a lot of what the energy committee is looking into for the buildings. Those are all kind of, to me, part of the same umbrella, if that makes sense to you.
It does, makes very good sense.
So yes, I will contact Mr. Clickguard. If someone has his phone number, that'd be great. And just email it to me. If you don't, I'll just, I bet Leanne Parker knows it because she lives right. I could call Leah. I just had a week where I was involved in some personal stuff, and now I apparently have some kind of infection, but I will do it. So
You think that might happen by the 1st of August?
yes, definitely.
Set that as a target for that? That would make sense?
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And I like targets, so that's good. So I will, and do you want me to email out some kind of summary, or do you want me to wait for the next meeting?
Summary of,
If I talk to him and what he says, I can do that. I'm just
Yeah.
asking.
Yes, I would say that would be an excellent idea. We
Okay,
know
so,
whether he in fact is tending to fit to go as chair, or whether he just wants to be a member. The fact that he hasn't responded, I believe, to at least 2 contacts by Dot would indicate that there's some degree of apathy or he's
well,
unsure.
was it? Yeah, or he just gets too many emails. Was it always by email or did you call him, Dot?
By email, trying to.
Yeah, I mean, if he's working and he's in a business, I mean, he might just get so many emails, he might just back burner it and not make it a priority. So I'll find out. I'll find
That
out what the
worries-
status is. Pardon?
That worries me. If that's an approach that he's taking,
But
that worries me.
Stan, a lot of people don't read their emails promptly, but let me find out. I'm just
That may be the case, but
postulating.
I don't know if that would work well when you're a chair of a committee. But
Well,
anyway, that's just my
let's
personal-
find out. Let's find out if it's something he can or doesn't want to do, and then we can proceed from there. And I'll know
Okay.
before August 1st.
Great, great.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Planning committee, we already did D. We'll move on to reports and updates, highway grants, contracts stand.
One minute, we're at.
What's that?
What?
I won't repeat it.
Highway grants, cataracts, no, contracts. Fiscal year 23 grant and aid.
Yes, we have received, actually,
Here it is,
we
12.
spoke with Mark in June,
Mhm.
and not having heard anything, I contacted Wyndham Regional and asked, did they do the listing of the segments for the road that we needed to do as part of our fiscal year 23 grant, which was $12,500. And I don't know if she sent anything to you. She hadn't sent anything to me or anyone else in town that I'm aware of, but I finally did get it after I asked for it.
Okay.
And I sent you and every other select board member a copy of the detail work that she's looking for, the photos and the road segments on a map, so that we could put together an RFP after we talk about who's going to do the work, if it's anything that we even need to hire out. It may be that we could do this in-house and save ourselves a lot of money to help pay for the excavator.
Okay.
So there's a discussion that needs to happen on how and when. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it and see if you have a feeling as to whether it needs to be hired out, or
Well,
probably rock we need to buy.
right, that, and we can do that in town, you know.
Yeah.
Purchase. And yeah, I can do the excavation of the issues. I actually met with Lisa Donnelly from Wyndham Regional. And we drove around to look at particular sites,
Yeah,
Where she got
that's where she got all that.
and she was photographing and making notes, so
This is
that she put that together, I guess.
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Well, I didn't know who might bring it and who might not bring it. I don't know if we're at a point to even talk about the detail.
I guess I'm not either literate enough. I don't know who's getting the same thing I'm getting when I receive something.
Oh.
You can tell at the top.
Uh,
There should be a listing
So
of everybody
I
got.
may have gotten it, assuming that you got it, and, but I wasn't sure if we were locked into it yet.
Well, we're locked in. The contract has been signed by everybody. It has been sent back to AOT. The treasurer and assistant treasurer have been given a copy for their document files for grants, and it's in the grant log. The only thing we're waiting for is to set up a process, a methodology, and actually implementing a plan that allows these 5 road segments to be upgraded and work done so that we can fill out the closing documents by the 30th of September of this year. And we only have less than 2.5 months to do it.
I thought this particular grant deadline was for next year.
Now, the copy that I have says that the award end date is September 30th of 2023. you're probably confusing that with the grant and aids that is for fiscal year 24. And that one, we've just gotten consummated in terms of locked in. So we're gonna be going through the same process next summer and spring. But the fact of the matter is, we don't have much time. I don't know if you wanted to sit down with somebody on this group, or you want to sit down with Archie and put together something that figures out how many square yards of gravel we're gonna need, because there's some of this, basically Kirsch Road, the crown is not acceptable, doesn't qualify. There's a lot of ditch work and stone work that need to happen. So, I mean, I don't know enough about what you do and how you do the calculations, and Archie, I would hope, might be able to be of help. I wouldn't mind meeting with you and him, and myself, whatever you feel is comfortable. As far as I'm concerned, you're the spear guy, the head guy, I'm the book guy. So however, whatever I need to do to help you, I'm willing to do.
Sure.
But I need input from somebody who does this kind of work all the time. What's feasible, what isn't? And then at some point, we're gonna have to put RFPs out for whatever it is that we're gonna hire out. And have some idea along the way as to what our own costs would be for that part we're gonna do ourselves. So that we'll know how to structure the total billing amount to know whether or not this is gonna cost us more than the grant and the match or less.
Okay, so the only thing, really, I would like to sit with Archie and discuss this, the way it's been working. Because we're, utilizing their stone products in town, they deliver. And I've been digging the material out of their truck and flying. And that's been working out really well.
Mhm.
The fact that they, allow me to utilize their truck and their stone, and I do the excavation. So there may be some material that will get, hauled by them, moved to a new location, and then stone brought back to do this work. And if it's just the work on Kirsch Road and a small amount on,
Hill Road.
couple of days.
Mhm.
If I had the truck and the stone there, so that would be a question I will contact Archie and.
Reach back out to
The
Stan.
only thing, like you said, I was kind of under the impression we had till next season, but,
We don't.
with mowing and, flooding, I would have to check, see if his truck will be available
See,
and material,
And like you said, we might have to use other sources,
right?
Sam, why not? Clark, by doing RFP, if we can't do it in-house. So not to be honest, if you can't get it done, you'll have to get it done.
All right, yeah,
One of the delays on this, and I found myself in the same position last year. I ended up having to call the state and finding out, because we probably weren't gonna have it completed by the 30th of September, what kind of leeway would they give us? And I had the feeling that they weren't particularly keen on giving extensions, but
They aren't.
we are a small town. And he said, we'll try to play ball with you and go into the latter part of December on it. And I'm here, I am, I find myself in that same position again this year. And that frankly, we could have avoided it by pressing Wyndham Regional to come earlier rather than 3 months before, leaving us less than 2.5 months, which just doesn't make sense, which is in one sense why I've been taking the posture, since technically the town is supposed to be responsible for its own stuff. Starting it and closing it out and not having Wyndham Regional do it is conversing with Wyndham Regional at some point saying, we can't continue to do this. We've got to have a more timely process here. So if you could get that done at your earliest convenience with Archie, I know he's hard to pin down, at least I found him to be. Would the 1st of August be a time for that contact, and then either you and I or you, him and I sit down at a work bee of sorts someday here and go through it decide what needs to happen, what kind of RFP we're gonna put out. And then start formulating that. I don't know if anyone else wants to be involved in that RFP process, but I'd like to have it so that we're able to vote on an RFP and put it in the paper early first week of August if we can. I know that's slow. Most contractors have probably already got the summer fully scheduled. We've got ourselves in a disadvantageous position, unfortunately.
Right, yeah, and with the squad issues.
Yeah, that doesn't help. Yeah. So we'll try to work on that. In response to this topic on the agenda, we'll try to work on that. You all got it. And hopefully you know what Archie and he are gonna talk about. The other thing I was involved with was, we did execute, DOT did execute last Friday, I believe, the agreement with the Vermont Historic Department that's providing the grant for the Meeting House Foundation. So that part is done. Subsequent to that, with that having been done, or I guess it was on Friday, I actually finished the contract, which I then sent to DOT, Leanne, for their going over it with Carrie when Carrie's ready to sign the contract. There was a brief two quick corrections that Lee asked me to make. The entity that gave the money I named wrong, and then a change of calling it restoration as opposed to construction. So
has that contract been signed?
the agreement with the state has, but the contract with the town has not.
So I did not print out the contract. It was 29 pages. I went through the different pages, but that's it, right?
Yep.
Because
A lot of it's just supporting documentation.
Right.
There's, I think, 12 or 14 pages that I included in
As
the
addendum.
state's agreement,
Right.
so that he knows that if he reads the whole thing, it's not, there are things that we require, but there are things that state requires.
So, okay, so we're at the point then that I have it, I'll print it out, I'll
Yeah.
contact Leanne, I'll contact Carrie, sitting down, sign this.
All
We're
set to
just
go,
Set to go.
all
Okay.
set to go.
All right, very good. So that's that. And then how about the Basin?
Bazin Brothers, I completed it. I printed it out to bring here today. I didn't think it was fair for me to email you this afternoon. But I can email it when I go home tonight or very first thing in the morning, so that you have a chance to look at it. At this date, I would probably say we've already approved the offer. It's just a matter of the contract. If anyone wants to look it over and just let me know whether it looks okay to you or not. It's a lot shorter than the one that we did for Carrie. And the dollar amount is, I think 32.2. There's a technicality about the mobility amount, but that doesn't affect the contract. It's for purposes of billing FEMA. We've got to structure that in a certain way.
I think this board will concur me signing the contract. We've already voted on it, so I
Yeah.
can sign it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
And I'd like to do the same thing with AS Clark. I got sidetracked on a couple of things, the last few days, as it's been obvious. And I've got it half done in terms of the insertion of the supporting docs and the dollar amount and inserting the diagram and his estimate, et cetera, et cetera. So that will be sent to you tomorrow as well.
All right, and then we'll get it.
And we can send that out right away.
Okay, very good.
On A5, the brick grant, I did in fact do the report in a timely fashion. And I sent it to the lady that I sent the first one to. She's involved in this flood thing because I think she's in a division of public safety. And so I'm gonna email her again tomorrow. I've got it on a tickler file to ask her to confirm that she got it.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay, so we don't end up in a
Dan,
situation.
I have a quick question. Where do these reports get filed when you're done with them? I mean,
Contract?
yeah, all the contracts in the treasurer's files, in our files, whose?
Treasurer's files, and I've got them in my house to file in this file here, which I will do sometime before the month is over. All of them.
Okay.
So there's the signed contract in the treasurer's department
That's all I
Yeah.
needed to know. That's good. Thank you.
or our own files. I'm sorry, did I touch you? Oh, sure, okay. That's all. Wait a minute. There's other things I have.
That's it for you.
I probably oughta,
You can't even say-
probably oughta.
That's-
The LMHP that we updated last time, do you have a new one that's been printed out that I might have a copy of for my files?
Sure, I'll give it to you.
Just can email it to me if you'd like, if you got it on your computer. If you don't, then I'll copy it.
It's the one from 2000, yeah, I got it.
No,
right
we
here.
need one for 2023, right? You're just gonna change the date and some other little mini,
All we had
stuff.
to do was do the cover sheet.
right, which
So-
had 22 on it, not 23.
Right, so I have it here.
So you got it, okay.
And
Planning
what's, one more quick question. What does LMHP stand for?
Local Emergency Management Plan Municipal Adoption Form for the town. This is what gives us,
Thank you. Got it. Thank you.
The other thing is, I have not heard back from Colin Bratton, who wanted to meet with Mark to go over 2 sites in town that he felt we could get grant money for. He has not responded to my suggestion that we're flexible. We'd like to meet with him.
Yeah.
I'll email him again tomorrow to remind him.
set that grant for next year, because we're full.
Yeah.
We don't have enough time to do all these for all this.
Well, I know, but he's probably gonna start it this year, whether or not I wanna do that or Mark wants to do that.
I had talked to Lisa about the areas that we reviewed around town, and that's when she wrote up, I guess Kirsch Road and Hill Road. And she was gonna send back Colin when we could match up the schedule to meet, and so far the flood came, and then I got busy, and he's going on vacation next week, so it may end up being a couple weeks out.
I don't have a problem with that. We obviously, we're not gonna do anything this year. but-
Yeah, and I don't know if he's just basically showing us which grant might fit which project
Right.
for a future project, and I know we're supposed to spend for.
Yeah.
For the time being, so this will just give us a,
Every grant need starts 2 years out, and then it comes to that end line where we're behind the 8 ball, so to speak. So I have nothing further to offer, and I appreciate your letting me go on and on. Thank you.
We should use your hand up at some point. If not, we're gonna move along. Building Commissioner, Bruce.
All I have to add at this point, you're, John, you're gonna go into that, communication with Susie's. I'm not even gonna get into that. I've already spoken my piece on all that stuff. There's nothing else for building right now, except what I did is I had a virtual, a conversation back and forth with Leanne about the parking that we talked about last time. And we have pretty much agreed, subject to your approval, I kind of paid a temporary approval, that she's gonna use, you know where the dumpster is,
Up to the rocks.
up to the rocks. I walked it today. I
Me
went over
too.
there, did you?
Yeah.
And it's
Solid.
beautiful. I gave her the go ahead. I said, this is perfect for you. You can get 5,
I'm
6,
gonna
7 trailers.
clarify
in there.
so that Paul knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
They found out that because of the flood, they can't park where they were gonna go across from the house. So they have a 41-foot camper, and they would either have to go on pavement or someplace pretty solid. We didn't want it on the baseball field. But between the recycling bin and the rocks, there's plenty of room for
Plenty.
parking, and it's
Okay.
secure, it's
You could
shady.
get 4 or 5 trailers.
So they could park in there.
She loved it and
Okay.
it just worked out. Okay, that's all I have for building commissioner at this point. Energy committee, there's gonna be more on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th of September. Because our next meeting is on the 18th and everything is kind of haphazard right now. We got some really intelligent people on this committee, and there's a lot going on that hasn't really been organized yet. Other than what Samara did with about getting the board's approval to move forward on the grant. So at this point in time, we're not really organized in such a way to give you specifics of what we're gonna do going forward. It's all been kind of preliminary questions.
I just wanna say that I saw the email from the daycare center. And I would like to be in attendance to support your speaking with them. And interject whatever might be of support along the way where necessary or appropriate,
Where's that lease at? With the lease with the,
at least with the daycare.
where is it? Is it
You don't have a copy? No, we can get him a copy,
I have a copy of it.
There'll be a copy in this cabinet by the end of the month.
but he should have one personally, it'll be helpful to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to read that.
Sure.
Sure, it's your copy.
It's really easy to read.
So you guys are gonna, one of you is gonna do that. I won't send you it.
What's that?
If one of them are gonna send you it, then I won't.
I have it right here.
There you go.
I'm gonna give you a copy. I'll make a copy of it. Okay?
Yeah, and,
Maybe I have a copy of it.
is that meeting scheduled with them or?
Not
I
yet.
didn't bring it up yet.
We're gonna talk about that in communications, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm done with everything as far as through the budget plans. I'm curious to hear what you
All
have
right,
to say
well, we
about
put
that.
on here, we can move on then. All right, I put on here budget plans. I know Samara, you've been involved in talking with the treasurer and looking at line items, making sure things are there. We do have to start talking about the budget for next year. You know, we went very much line by line. Maybe we didn't give ourselves enough cushion here. I don't know, but we do have to
We
work
worked
on this.
very hard on this.
We always work hard on.
Well,
Yeah, but.
So I can interject that I did talk to Melissa. The first thing that she said she will pursue getting the notes in anticipation of taxes, so that's a go. She said notes, loans, same thing. Okay, so that's she's working on that. In terms of budget and starting, I mean, we have to get, I need to talk to her and find out just how final are our year-end reports, because I believe she said there was about $50,000 in uncollected current year taxes that haven't come in. So that'll make it.
It's down to about 23,000 now, according to yesterday. When I talked to her.
Okay, good. So that's good. So that's about half.
No, it's
And
not.
typically it shouldn't,
Okay.
I'm sort of been going through all she also, and maybe this is relevant to mention right now.
It's not.
Melissa gave me samples of, she wants to clean up our chart of accounts, which thank God she wants to do that. So she has given me some samples, which I will send out to you. It's really just a matter of making things more uniform, giving us more flexibility to add sub-accounts as we need to. Because, for example, if we have a FEMA project, right now we have to add willy-nilly an account in some part of the chart of accounts where it isn't necessarily in a logical order. So she's working on that, and I will give you what she's given me for the main two accounts, but we can put that on the agenda for our next meeting, and I'll walk you through what we've got so far. And trying to think of what else. That was as far as budgeting, typically we've never, actually sat down with the budget until October. And there's a reason.
We try not to have we don't want to have a lot of special meetings, or you would take some time at each meeting to work on a section of it. So, but we'll see whatever works best.
That's fine. I'll start giving it some thought, and certainly work with Melissa to see what kind of reports she's given you. I'd be interested to see what she gave you last year. And
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, so select board chair report. I just know with the storm, the communication is important. I've been getting an awful lot, and I'll try to decipher what I can to let the residents know what help is available. The health department, we did get warnings that water is, if your well was compromised or underwater, people have been getting information about free well testing, water testing, and boiling. Animal control report, we did have a goat that got hung up in a fence and broke its leg and had to be destroyed this week. The town park, the town party is on Saturday. We hope to see everyone there. I know Stan, you may not be able to come.
No, I'm in light of recent
Yeah.
unknowns, I've signed up to work wherever I can.
Oh, okay.
So I'll be setting up the day before. I'll be there Saturday, both set up and take down.
So the setup is approximately 2 o'clock on Friday, maybe a little, see how the weather is supposed to be, some thunderstorms, and the
Yes.
event is on Saturday from 12 to 5. Mark, I'll talk to you because you're gonna help me with the cleanup and whatever else, and we have some signs to get going. So that's that. We have the parking squared away, so that's good, and considering that the Airbnbs got washed out, we were able to accommodate the people. Any other topics or discussion from the select board members that don't require a vote? I just want to say, where are we with the chairs? Can we just order chairs?
Oh, yeah,
All right.
I'll bring the chairs in place. I mean, I want to order them through Amazon for the
Yes.
office chairs.
The
They're
town
like,
has-
they're
town
right,
has an-
they're around $150 each. That's it. And
So I would check with Guy to see if he and Glenn also want them.
I will.
Okay.
I will check with them. And the one other thing I want to mention is I did get a FEMA, portal sign in. That was pretty easy. The only thing is I could only remember one of the disaster numbers. I think it's the 4671. Isn't there another?
4621 is
Yeah,
the disaster.
Yeah, and is there only one 4621?
That's
is
the
that
only
the-
one, the 2021. The new one is a different number.
Right, I know that. I just couldn't remember if there was more than one number for the old one. So thank you.
Okay,
But-
so that's that. Highway supervisor, Mark, do you have a quick summary? Because we're gonna have time.
I'll just say, then concentrating on reducing flood damage, still doing like culvert inventory and cleaning culverts to discover which more have, problems that we haven't seen yet. We had, one tree went down, clean up south of the Brown Schoolhouse, and we had another concerned citizen saying that a big oak tree is leaning over the road on Hill Road, which I witnessed. I flagged it, put some cones up and called Green Mountain Power, and they're coming to look at it to see if they're gonna take care of it.
Great.
And tomorrow morning, I have a meeting with Tyler from V-Trans to show him our damages for Megan. So that they can get a summary idea of how much damage their county had
Okay.
to go with this county's number for damages. That's it.
All right, fantastic. I'm gonna continue down here to emails. Just want to know communication with the disaster. I think everybody else has been getting it. Communications with Susie's Little Peanuts regarding the plumbing failure on 620. You saw the letter I sent out to the noting the lease contract items. We did get an email today saying that they would like to meet with us in person. I'm gonna suggest that they come to a select board meeting and,
I didn't get that. I don't believe I did.
okay.
I'll recheck it. Whatever.
Yeah, they said- Yeah, so they said,
I'll find the
we
middle of
met
it.
and we would like to meet in person with you to discuss
Okay.
the things.
We've
So
been,
I did not put on the agenda to vote for 2 days abatement of the rent, which would have been $200 until I find out what their conversation is going to be. So I'm gonna suggest they come to a select board meeting at the beginning of the next meeting.
that's gonna confine it to how many minutes?
Whatever. I don't know what they need to discuss.
Well, I know that, but it's your call as to how long it's in the select board rules. It's your call as to how long you want to make somebody come in and talk. But I don't want to sit here for 45 minutes and listen to a
If they're
litany.
gonna have,
go through
if they're
the
gonna
press.
present, we don't have to respond, we just hearing.
Yeah,
That's true.
I would give them 15 to 20 minutes. They ought to be able to sum it up by then. In that much, don't you think?
Something they can say in public in the meeting,
Okay.
instead of having a special meeting.
No,
Right?
no one's
So everybody hears the same thing.
It's a way to handle
Okay, another communication from Inter Fire, you know, there was a concern that, I got a letter from Beatrice asking for me to put out under my signature, an email to the community. I said that she'd have to do it herself through Julie or Front Porch Forum because I wasn't even in town when there was somebody who was lost and such. So, the email is here if anybody wants to read it. It's sort of more than an email, sort of is an advertised.
3 pages, wow.
Yeah, pages. So, so yes, today at 11 o'clock was the email from Olivia.
That's why you said you're gonna be back.
I've
and I
been
could call-
hoping that you can have a sit-down meeting regarding, I
Right,
want
is
to
that
talk
right?
to you about the parking.
Oh,
That
that's
was all
right,
I,
okay,
yeah.
so I understand what it was about.
And the Brookline news events, it didn't go out with the tax bills. I think when Samara, you brought your little slips of paper in, they thought that was the letter. Anyway, I'm gonna try to get it out in another format. And
No,
we got-
I actually told them there was one from you too, when I was there, but obviously.
all right, so quickly, communication, okay, Fact TV, they missed 2 meetings, Stan and I have been on them.
Yeah.
On tonight, so it'll be uploaded.
They've had a lot on their plate lately, so they actually just forgot to monitor the last 2 meetings, so. The nice part is that it is loaded to the cloud. Each meeting has been loaded to the cloud. It's a matter of coming in and downloading it and transferring it from the laptop to another device that it can be put to take home to then send to, in this case, Vanessa. So she had the ability to confirm some of the things that she wanted. So if it happens again, there's a system. We'll just have to utilize it. I suspect that tomorrow or the day after, the last 2 select board meetings will be available, and tonight's probably will be available Friday.
All right, so that was good. Appreciate your helping out and getting that done. Stan updated the grant logs. I thank you so much. I put it together. I have to keep these. You can look right across and study where we're at. That makes it quite helpful. In the regular mail, we received a copy from Troop Agency, a copy of Sam Bourne's insurance and something from SEVEDS, which is a program called Southern Vermont Get On Board, to help recruit and train community members who are interested in participating in local government. So I'm gonna read this and see what they have to say, because we could certainly use another 10 people doing stuff in town. Amen. Amen to that. Setting the agenda, okay, tax bills were sent out. I do have to note that yes, they did go up, but the municipal is about 25%, 27%. And the rest of it's school taxes. So I got 4 payments. The first payment pays for the town, and payments 2, 3, and 4 pay for the school taxes. The tax bill.
22.5%.
It was mostly, it is the education.
Oh, sure it is.
You
but it's
understand
also-
that, because I know we went up, but it was.
Yeah, but also,
Not this time.
I think
Well,
the education taxes went up $585 roughly, and the municipal tax increased $135.41. So for me,
for you,
so for me.
I didn't
So,
split
so
it
I
apart.
did, yeah.
but I'll just. There's
went
2
up.
ways to look at this, is we analyze it, do what we can for our town. But there's still I wanna talk to Al Paulson, they gotta do better up there. I don't know what they're gonna do to control. And I hear from Guy all the time, oh, it's nothing to do with them, it has to do with the state. I don't know this, I don't pay enough attention to it. But anyway, as far as the tax rate goes, for the municipal only, because that's what we control, 0.49 is the highway. And we all know what that came from.
Right, that was FEMA.
Exactly.
Right.
So that was a hurt. So if we wanna split hairs.
All right,
And start doing that, but basically, it would have been a bit market diminished, not like what we would like to see diminished. In light of what's going on with the school district, and I think. The members of this community have got to be more than 80 or 100 people, whatever it is, to vote for the thing. There's got to be more participation, including me, if I can, and what the school district does. Because to have $13.5 million for the school budget, it's getting a little out of whack.
I'm
That's
passing
enough.
around, I meant to pass around before, pictures from the Susie's Little Peanuts, the trash that was collected, did that get taken care of to the burn pile?
Nope,
Oh, we said we would get that to the burn pile.
they didn't give us the go-ahead.
Yeah, okay.
I suggested it.
And this is the plumbing, the after pictures of the repair, so.
Doc, they didn't say do it.
Stan,
I said
Oh, thank
that
you.
we would do it upon their approval, because it's
Okay.
their stuff.
Okay, all right, so, I'm setting the agenda for the next meeting,
Okay,
planning committee, budget,
I'm going to,
add to local emergency plan Sanborn, the truck. Can we say
Yeah, and I
truck
will
or
say-
not? Or we're gonna pass
I
on?
will, no, I will have a proposal for the truck. If it's amenable, if it works, and that is twofold. One, if it's affordable, and two, if the day before I call up there and it's still available. There's no sense in going through the spinning of the wheels.
Right.
So those two things have to be met.
Okay.
And one part of that, the money part of it, I'll get deep into it, especially with the treasurer. So we'll see.
All right, and
Oh, I
Susie's
know,
Little
well.
Peanuts meeting request at the beginning of members of the scheduled members of the public. So if we have any other items that need to come up, bring it to my attention. Anything else at this time? That meeting is adjourned. 8:29. Stop recording.
Don, I didn't answer. Again, I think I gotta do this with Chair. This might be.
Yeah.
That
That was-
Recording stopped.
Yay.
I don't.
So do they need to be nudged in any way or reminded or?
They kind of indirectly apologized